I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mark, I'm 44 years old, and until recently I would have described my life as pretty stable. Not exciting, not miserable, just somewhere in between. I've been married for 17 years to my wife, Lisa, who's 41. We have two kids, a son who's 15 and a daughter who's 12. I've always been the steady one in our relationship, the reliable paycheck, the guy who remembers to pay the bills on time, the one who doesn't forget dentist appointments or oil changes. She was the more outgoing, spontaneous one. I thought that made us a good team. The story really started to unravel about 6 months ago, but I didn't realize it at the time. Lisa started working out more. She had never been big into fitness before, but she signed up for this new gym near our house. At first, I thought it was great. She seemed more energetic, happier even. She dropped about 15 pounds, started buying new clothes, got her hair done more often. I told myself she was just taking better care of herself, maybe hitting that midlife stage where you want to feel younger again. I supported it. Hell, I encouraged it. But then little things started happening that didn't add up. She'd stay at the gym for 2 or 3 hours, even though I knew the classes were only an hour long. She'd come home late, sweaty but to put together, if that makes sense. Like she'd showered somewhere else. Her phone started living in her hand. She'd tilted away when I walked by, and I can't remember the last time I actually saw her leave it unattended. The first real red flag smacked me in the face one night when she came home way later than usual. It was almost midnight, and she said she had gone out for a drink with a few girls from the gym. I didn't push back in the moment, but it nagged at me. The next day, I casually asked what bar they went to. She hesitated for half a second too long before answering, "Oh, you wouldn't know it. Just this little place downtown." The thing is, I do know most of the places downtown, and I'd never heard her mention this one before. So I started paying closer attention. I'm not proud of it, but I began checking the mileage on her car. Once after she came home from the gym, the odometer showed an extra 35 miles. Our gym is 5 miles away. I sat there in the driver's seat staring at the numbers, feeling my stomach turn. I wanted to believe there was some explanation, some errand she hadn't mentioned. But deep down, I already knew. Things escalated about a month later. One Saturday morning, she said she was going to a spin class. I told her I'd tag along. I hadn't been to the gym in a while myself. She froze, then forced a smile and said, "Oh, they're all booked up today, maybe next week." That was all I needed. I pretended to accept it, but after she left, I waited 10 minutes and then followed her. I felt like the biggest creep in the world, tailing my own wife, but adrenaline drowned out the shame. She didn't go to the gym. She drove to a hotel. I parked far enough away not to be seen and just sat there, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I watched her walk inside wearing her gym clothes, carrying that bright pink water bottle she always brought to workouts. 15 minutes later, a guy walked in after her. He looked mid-30s, tall, in shape, probably another gym rat. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might actually pass out right there in the car. I didn't go inside. I couldn't. Instead, I drove home like a robot, every red light feeling like a cosmic joke. I spent the rest of the day pretending to the kids that everything was fine, while in my head I replayed the image of her walking into that hotel over and over again, until it made me physically sick. That night, when she got home, she acted completely normal. Kissed me on the cheek, asked about dinner, joked with the kids. I looked at her and felt like I was staring at a stranger wearing my wife's skin. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the hotel entrance, her ponytail swaying as she walked in, the man following after. It was like some cruel movie scene stuck on repeat. The worst part was how calm she seemed. She slipped into bed next to me like nothing was wrong, scrolling through her phone for a few minutes before turning over and drifting off. I lay there staring at the ceiling, wondering how many times she had come home from that exact kind of night, kissed me goodnight, and pretended she was still my wife. The next day, I told myself I needed proof. I had one solid observation, but if I confronted her with just that, she'd twist it, deny it, make me feel like I was going crazy. Lisa was smart, and she could lie with a straight face if she needed to. I'd seen her do it before with little things, like calling in sick to work when she wasn't. If I came at her now without backup, she'd bury me in excuses. So I went down the rabbit hole. First, her phone. That thing might as well have been welded to her hand. But she slipped up once. She went to shower and left it charging in the kitchen. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it'd faint as I picked it up. Of course, it was locked. She had recently changed the password, and I didn't know the new one. That almost hurt more than anything else. She used to tell me her passwords without even thinking. So I went to her laptop instead. She mostly used it for work, but I knew she sent some of her stuff there. Sure enough, I hit gold. Her iMessages were linked. Not all of them. She must disabled it later, but a chunk of conversations were still there from a couple of months back. And in them was his name, Eric. My hands shook as I scrolled. The texts weren't even explicit, at least not in those old ones, but they didn't have to be. Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. When can I see you again? That kind of thing. My throat went dry. My wife, the woman I built a whole damn life with, was sneaking around like a teenager writing love notes to another man. I copied as much as I could, took photos with my phone, careful to put the laptop back exactly how I'd found it. The rest of the day I moved through the house like a ghost. She asked if I was feeling sick. I just nodded. In a way, I was. Over the next 2 weeks, I became a private investigator in my own marriage. I tracked her mileage. I checked credit card statements, charges at restaurants I'd never been to, a receipt from a boutique hotel downtown. Small amounts, like they were trying not to leave a trail, but just enough to confirm everything I feared. Then came the part that nearly broke me. I followed her again. This time I parked closer, waited. I saw her meet him in the hotel lobby. They didn't even hesitate. He put his hand on the small of her back as they walked toward the elevator, like he'd done it 1,000 times before. That simple, casual touch gutted me more than anything else. That used to be my spot. My hand belonged there. I sat there in my car for almost 2 hours, not even sure what I was waiting for. Eventually, they came back down, laughing, her hair slightly messy, his shirt untucked. My blood went ice cold. I gripped the steering wheel so tight it left dents in the leather. And still, I didn't confront her. I just drove home, parked in the driveway, and sat there in the dark until I could fake a normal face for the kids again. You start to lose your mind living like that. Every smile she gives you feels like a mask. Every I love you sounds like a lie. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. My coworkers noticed something was off. Even my daughter asked me one night why I looked sad all the time. I brushed it off, but inside I felt like I was bleeding out slowly and no one could see it. The thing that kept me going was this growing fire in my chest. At first it was shock, then despair, but soon it turned into anger. 17 years. 17 years of my life, of loyalty, of being the dependable husband, the dad who never missed a soccer game, the guy who fixed the sink at midnight so no one would have to call a plumber. And she was throwing it all away for some sweaty fling with a guy from her gym. I started planning. If I was going to confront her, I wanted it to be airtight. No wiggle room, no chance to gaslight me. She'd have to face the truth head on. And if that meant our marriage blew up right there, so be it. But I also wanted to know one more thing before I dropped the bomb. Who the hell was this Eric? Eric. That name became a ghost haunting every corner of my life. I'd hear it in my head when I was brushing my teeth, when I was driving to work, when Lisa was laughing at something on her phone across the room. I couldn't stop picturing him, this faceless, younger, stronger version of me that she'd apparently decided was worth burning our marriage for. I started small. I searched his name in her laptop messages again, trying to see if I could find a last name. No luck. Just Eric with a heart emoji next to it. That little heart almost pushed me over the edge. She'd never had a heart next to my name, so I got creative. I knew the gym had a Facebook page, and they tagged members sometimes when they posted group photos. One night while she was in the shower, I scrolled through dozens of them. My stomach clenched when I finally saw him. Tall, maybe 6 feet, broad shoulders. That lean muscular build guys in their 30s always seem to have. Big smile, tattoos on his arms. And there, right next to him in one photo, was Lisa, her hand casually on his shoulder, like it was the most natural thing in the world. There it was. Eric, 35 years old according to his profile, single, personal trainer and nutrition coach. No kids. A feed full of gym selfies, motivational quotes, and videos of him spotting women on weight benches. I wanted to punch his smug face right through my phone screen, but it wasn't just anger. It was something worse: comparison. I started staring at myself in the mirror differently. The gray in my beard, the soft belly that never really went away, even though I tried to keep it under control, the crow's feet around my eyes. I wondered if Lisa looked at me one day and just decided she was done, that she wanted someone who looked like that. At work, I couldn't focus. I'd sit in meetings nodding while people talked, not hearing a word. My boss even pulled me aside and asked if everything was all right at home. I lied, of course, said I was just tired. But the truth was, I was living in a split reality, the surface one where I was still husband, father, provider, and the dark undercurrent where I was a detective cataloging every betrayal. I started keeping a folder on my computer. Screenshots of her messages, pictures of her car at the hotel, even a copy of the hotel receipt it pulled from the credit card statement. It felt surreal, like I was preparing evidence for a trial. But in a way, I was. Because when the moment came, I wasn't going to let her wriggle free. The paranoia got worse too. Every time she touched her phone and smiled, I assumed it was him. Every time she went to yoga or drinks with the girls, I pictured them tangled in hotel sheets. I even started questioning her past. Had this really only been going on for 6 months? Or had she been lying for years? One night, I almost cracked. She came home late, claimed her class ran over. I looked her straight in the eye and asked, was Eric there? Her whole body stiffened. Just for a second. Then she laughed, too quickly. Eric? Who's Eric? She said, playing dumb. I forced a smile and shook my head like I was joking. But inside, that was confirmation enough. She knew exactly who he was. I couldn't keep bleeding out silently. I needed to confront her, but I wanted to do it in a way she couldn't dodge. And I wanted Eric to know, too. So I started planning something I never thought I'd do. I was going to follow her again, but this time, I wasn't staying in the car. The plan ate at me for days. It was all I thought about. How it would happen, what it'd say, what she'd do when she realized the game was over. One moment I pictured myself calm, cold, laying out every piece of evidence like a prosecutor in court. The next, I imagined myself exploding, shouting, demanding to know why she did it. Both versions ended the same way: our life shattered. I kept asking myself the same question. Was I really ready to torch 17 years of marriage in one night? Because that's what it would be. Once the words were out, once she saw what I knew, there'd be no putting the genie back in the bottle. Maybe she'd beg for forgiveness. Maybe she'd pack her bags. Maybe she'd lie until her last breath. But the life we had before, that illusion of stability, would be gone. For a while, I hesitated. I went through motions at home, smiling when the kids talked about school, making dinner, watching TV with Lisa as if we were still normal. But underneath it all, I was coiled like a spring. Every time she laughed at her phone, I had to bite down on the inside of my cheek just to stay quiet. I told myself I was waiting for the right moment. The truth was, I was scared. Not scared of her, but of what would come after. Divorce, custody battles, splitting everything we built, the kids finding out, my reputation, our families, all of it. I kept thinking, what if confronting her didn't just blow up my marriage, but destroyed everything else too? And then one night, she gave me the push I needed. She came home late again, well past midnight. Her hair was damp, like she'd showered somewhere else, and she had this faint smell of cologne that definitely wasn't mine. I asked how her workout was. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and said, intense. Something inside me snapped. I smiled back, told her good night, and as soon as she fell asleep, I grabbed my phone and texted my boss that I needed a personal day off tomorrow. Because tomorrow, I was following her again. And this time, I wasn't staying in the car. That morning, she left in her gym clothes, just like before. I waited 10 minutes, heart hammering so loud I could feel it in my chest, then slipped into my car and followed. Sure enough, she didn't head toward the gym. She drove straight to that same hotel. This time, I parked right across the street. I watched her walk inside, looking casual, even cheerful. 10 minutes later, Eric showed up, just like clockwork. Same cocky walk, same athletic swagger. He had no idea I was sitting 50 feet away, watching. I sat there for a while, palms sweating, trying to convince myself to move. My brain screamed at me to get out, to storm inside and drag her out by the truth. But another part of me hesitated. What if they caught me standing there? What if I looked pathetic? What if she spun it around, called me crazy, said I was imagining things? I gripped the steering wheel, stared at the entrance, and took a long, shaky breath. This was it. No more waiting. No more pretending. My marriage was already broken. It was time to face the wreckage head-on. I opened the car door and stepped out. Walking toward that hotel felt like walking into a furnace. My legs were heavy, but I forced them to move. Every step echoed in my head. This is it, this is it, this is it. The lobby was quiet, a few people milling around, the faint smell of coffee from the cafe. The receptionist barely looked up as I strode past her, straight to the elevators. My heart was hammering so hard I thought I might collapse right there. I didn't even know what room they were in, but I had a plan. I knew her car was outside, which meant she was there. I pressed the elevator button and went up to the 5th floor, then the 6th, just walking the hallways, listening. Part of me prayed I wouldn't find them, that somehow I'd get to the end of a hallway and realize I was wrong, that this was all in my head. But then I heard her laugh, muffled, through a door just a few feet away. I froze. My stomach dropped like it'd been punched. That laugh was burned into me from years of marriage, and now it was spilling out of a hotel room with another man. I stood there for a second, shaking, my hand hovering just above the door. Then, before I could stop myself, I pounded on it. Hard. Silence. Then a muffled voice, his voice. Who is it? I hit the door again. Lisa. Open the damn door. There was shuffling inside. Whispers. Then the door cracked open, and there she was. Her hair was messy, her face flushed, and she was wearing nothing but a hotel robe. Behind her, Eric stood half-dressed, staring at me like a deer in headlights. For a second, none of us spoke. Time froze. Then I said, 17 years, Lisa. 17 goddamn years, and this is what I walk in on. Her face went pale. Mark, she started, but I cut her off. Don't even try. You've got the texts, the receipts. It followed you here. You think I'm an idiot. You think I didn't notice. Her eyes filled with tears. She tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. Don't touch me. Eric finally found his voice. Hey, man, calm down. I turned on him so fast he flinched. Shut your mouth. You don't get to speak to me. You don't get to say a damn word to me. You knew she was married. You knew she had kids. And you didn't care. He opened his mouth again, then closed it. Good. I looked back at Lisa. Do you have any idea what you've done? To me, to our kids, to our family. You blew it all up for him, for some sweaty gym fling. She was crying now, begging me to just talk. Just go somewhere private. But there was no more talking. Not here. Not like this. I pulled out my phone, held it up. I've got everything. The texts, the hotel receipts, the photos. I don't need your excuses. When we get home, you're packing your things. And tomorrow, I'm calling a lawyer. Her face crumpled. She tried to speak again, but I couldn't listen. I turned, walked down that hallway, my chest on fire, my hands trembling, but my back straight. I didn't care that people were staring in the lobby as I stormed out. I didn't care about Eric or what he did after I left. I cared about one thing, my life as I knew it was over. When I got to the car, I sat there gripping the wheel, shaking all over. Part of me wanted to scream, part of me wanted to cry, but mostly I felt empty, hollow, like someone had scooped out the inside of me and left just a shell. But I knew one thing, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't paranoid. I had faced the truth head on, and there was no going back. When I drove home that night, it wasn't as a husband anymore. It was as a man who had finally seen what had been rotting under the surface, and who was ready, terrified, broken, furious, but ready to burn the rest down and start over.